Well, anyway, hello everyone. Nice meeting you. I'm Papa Cosplay. I do costume mostly in leather. And so today I will show you how to start and to work with leather. I will give you leather pieces to pass to each other to see the details and the material and stuff. So if I can have my gloves back at the end. I will do the presentation in two parts. First, I will just show you on the screen all the tools and all the techniques to work with leather. Then I will try to show you live on pieces of leather and stuff how I work directly for the costumes and for the props I showed you. Yeah, So I discovered leather like 4 years ago. Yeah, okay. What can I start with without the presentation? So you can do many things with leather. At the moment, I'm working on a hat from the Westworld comics, Westworld TV show. So this is the hat of Hector, the guy. So you can see all the tooled flowers on each side of the leather. So normally, leather, it looks like this. It's the skin of the cow. This is skin, the outside skin. And this is more the inside of the body. So you only tool the details on the leather on this side. So for this hat, to be able to tool on one side and the other, I glued two layers of leather like this, and so it's tooled on both sides. So anyway, for now I can show you how you do sewing with Leathercraft until they get back. So to do, so first you buy cowhide. Normally they are like 2 meters square almost, and this is vegetable tanned leather. So this leather, you can do anything on it. To work with leather, you have to wet it with a spray or just a sponge. People use sponge, people use spray, you can use anything. You wet the leather, and after that you can tool it and everything. So I will show you. Can I have a camera to show on the desk what's going on? No? Yeah? Can you film the table on the screen? Well, let's do it without for now. So here I'm sewing 3 parts of leather together. They are old. The leather is really thick and really hard, so you cannot just sew with the needles. It's really just a classic needle. But then, so to sew, you have the sewing with Leathercraft is always the same. Mostly the same. You take one piece of string. The string is waxed. There is waxed all along the seam, so it will fill the hole in the leather. Then you usually take 6 times the length for regular sewing. Just to sewing like this, you take a piece of string 6 times longer than your sewing. And then, so the string goes through the needle, and then the needle goes through the string. Hop. So the string here goes through the needle, and then the needle goes through the string. So like this, you have kind of a knot on the needle, and so the needle won't leave the string. And so you do the same on the other side of the string. Okay. And when you have your normally long string with 2 needles, then you can sew. So here I started with this, so I have like 6 times the length of everything. And okay. Tuck. Tuck. Okay, so for the sewing, hop. So the string on the outside, hop. I plug the needle through this hole to the second hole inside here and to the third hole. So I will just have a big loop and volley. And then on the other side, will go through the same hole just inside here and try to leave outside of this. Okay. So in a more schematic way, now we have the camera, so I will just show it like this. Okay. So, can I have the presentation first, or? Yeah. Okay, nice. So now I can first show you the tools and after show you how to use them. Where did I put the... Oh no, you have the remote. Oh, I need to... Sorry. Go to the Leathercraft part directly. Okay, so this is how I discovered Leathercraft. In the US, there is a guy that's called Prince Armory, and is making costumes, comics costume or fantasy costumes out of leather. And the first armor I saw was Aquaman in leather. And Aquaman is basically not the superhero everyone's like, but the armor was beautiful. And when I realized you could do those beautiful things, even with characters you don't really like, I said, I need to do a leather armor. So, next one, please. And then, since then, I realized different stuff. So, belts, hat, armors, flask, bracelets. I have a few other flasks I can pass along the people. Hop. And then I'm making another hat, of course. Next, please. Oh yeah, so other stuff, coasters, gold, mask. You can do many things in leather. Next, please. And so these are the first tools you will use. So the hammer is a resin hammer. It's not a metal hammer because all your tools will be in metal, and to not damage the tools, you will use a resin hammer. So at least you won't break your tools like this. Then you have blades. So regular blades with some cutting sheets. And the last blade you can see on the bottom of the image is called a swivel knife. You have several kinds of swivel knife. I will show you later on the leather. Those swivel knives, they are used to cut the leather, but not cut through the leather. You will just cut the surface of the leather to draw your pattern on the surface, to draw your design. So the first blades, they are used to really cut leather in pieces, and then this kind of blade is just used to draw on the leather. The edge beveler is because when you have leather, when you directly cut leather, the side, the edge of the leather is sharp. And when you do armor, you don't want to have a sharp armor on you because you could hurt yourself. So this kind of stuff will cut at like 45 degrees or anything, the leather, the edge of the leather, and round it up. And then after that, you have the the tools for the sewing. You can use the roll to. At first, when I use sewing, I just use a ruler, and every 4 millimeters or 5 millimeters, depending of the size of your sewing, I would just put a dot. But now you can use this and just mark all the dots at once. And then you have the hole. The hole is just like a sharp needle, sharp, heavy needle that you will use to pierce through your leather to prepare it for sewing. Because like I said, the needles of the sewing, the tip of the needle is round. It will not go through the leather. You have to pierce the leather before sewing. Next, please. These are stamping tools. You have many kind of stamping tools. They are all the tools, stamps you will use to put design textures on your leather. It's kind of, for those who work with Photoshop or anything, this is exactly the same. You have a different kind of stamping tools. I will show you what use for every stamping tools, but some are to, for example, on a hat, even if it's from far away, you can see there is like a 3D drawing. When you draw on leather, the tools will help you to put some part of the leather above others part, or to put some textures on the leather, to put shadow on the drawing. It's really the tools you will use instead, like you would use a pencil or some other crayons when you draw something. This will help you sculpt your design on the leather. Next, please. So other tools, creasers, modeler, rounder, every tools on the left. So the tools on the first image on top, I use now like a compass. It will help you to make a line at a certain distance of the edge. So when you will have your piece, let's say this is a piece for a bracelet, I don't know, and I want a line all along this, I will just put the distance and go from the edge and mark it up on the leather. And then every time I want the distance, I can just wire it up. The next tool is, where is it? I don't have it. Oh yeah, it is, it's here. So this tool, it will carve inside the leather. It's a gouge. It will carve inside the leather a hole, and it's used for the sewing. When you sew on leather, you don't want your string to get cut. Let's say, for example, I don't know, there is some friction on top of your leather. You don't want your string to get cut. So you will bury your string inside the leather, and to do that, you will first gouge. I don't know the word. I will show you on the leather, but then you will put a hole all along the sewing. So when you put your strings, the string will be inside the leather and not on top of it. The other tools, I use this kind of modeler or this kind of needle. They are a round tip of needles. They are used to transfer your drawings from the paper onto the leather. So you will really use this like you use crayons or anything to draw on your leather. And some are different. Here, this is just a pin, and this is there is a ball on this one. And here, they are modeler with spoons. They can be used, really, this is sculpting tools to sculpt directly on the leather your drawing. And after that, there is some tools to attach pieces of leather together, so rivets, sewing, glue, and the die. I won't speak about die because I don't have the time to show die. Next, please. Okay, so I put the presentation in like 8 parts, 8 small parts. These are all the steps you will use when you create something in leather for anything. It can be a bracelet, it can be a big armor, but it will always be the same. So the first part will be your design. You will make either just a bracelet or full body armor, helmet. So you will just do your pattern in paper, because basically leather is mostly like paper when it's dry. And so you will first make your paper pattern to be able to start. Next, please. Then you will cut. So on the top left, you can see this is a big cowhide, and I'm trying to cut all the pieces of the armor without wasting too much leather. Then this is the only waste of leather I have when I use a big cowhide. And then after that, so you will use the beveler to cut the edges of the leather. So here you can see I cut all the pieces of leather, then I remove the edges. Next, please. Third step will be assembling. When you will tool your leather or model your leather, it will move, but you can already try to put a few holes and pins to check, to verify if everything you cut into the leather will work as the armor, because you don't want to spend weeks tooling your leather and discover at the end it's too short or too big. So you will just try to see at the beginning if it works. Fourth step, so the drawing and cutting. So these are all the steps. First, this is my pattern in paper. I cut it in leather, and then I draw the main design on the paper, and I use the needle to mark the design on the leather. You can't see it, but on the leather piece in the middle, there is the design that is on the paper. I already transferred it. And then I use a swivel knife to cut the leather alongside the drawing, and so the drawing will appear on the leather. Next, please. After you cut and open your leather for the drawing, you will do the tooling, like details and stuff. So as you can see on the right piece, at first it's completely smooth, completely wide, and then you will use some stamping tools that are used, for shadow. So on this part, you can really see there is like a clear edge on the bottom, one piece in the middle, and you don't really know but dark stuff around. But all of this is only one piece of leather. So you can really give the illusion that there are many different pieces of leather only with just one, depending on the stamping tools you will use. On this one, on the right, you have the drawing I just cut with the swivel knife, and then the drawing I stamped with the stamping tools. So when I do a pattern on paper you will roughly draw the shape, the basic shape of the design, so the thing that's on the right. You will not draw every details on the paper, because you don't need to. You have the stamping tools for that. And yeah, like I said, so since you are stamping, you are using a hammer, a metallic stamp, a table, so you will hit many times, thousands of times. And if you're an apartment or stuff, you should take care of the noise it creates. When you stamp leather, it makes a lot of noise, and so don't do it at night or anything because your neighbor will hear you. Next, please. Okay, so I'm on the sewing and molding part. As you can see on the left side, I use two kinds of sewing: the classic sewing, the straight one, and the cross. So usually the straight sewing is used to put pieces of paper on top of each other. So you put pieces of paper on top of each other, and then you put the strings like this on the leather, so it will stick the leather together. But then the other one, the cross, is when you want to put pieces of leather just next to each other, not on top of each other, but just next to each other. So you will do cross sewing. If you can come back a few slides. One, yeah, just, no, yeah, here is fine. So on the sewing slide, the piece you can see is this one. So you can see the triangles. Then I will put the two edges of the leather against each other using the cross stuff, and then it will make the volume of the piece. You can come back to the next. Okay, so here you can see the volume on this piece because I just put the leather together. It's the same with paper. And on the molding, to mold your leather, you will just wet your leather. I use cold water. You wet your leather and then you try to find shape where you can put your leather on and then model your leather. On the middle part, the kind of hexagon, I have a wood hexagon inside the leather, and then the outside is to push the leather on top of the piece. So you can either just mold it on some stuff or have a mold. Next one, please. Oh, and dye is, well, I can, about dye, so I use a water-based dye on the leather. And on the top right piece, you can see there is like the black part and the blue part. This is the same color. The blue one is dry and the black one is just because I just put it. But since the leather will darken when you put water, when you first put your color on your leather, you will think it's really dark. But then after 3-4 hours, the dye will start drying and then the color will get brighter. Okay, next. Yes, this is how to set rivets. I will show you. So rivets, they are in two parts. You can see the two parts on top. You make a hole through your leather, and then you have a tool with just a concave shape that you will hammer so the metal will spread inside the cap, and then the rivets will set pieces of leather together. Next, please. And this is like all the steps at once. So in armour, I usually use straps like this to set my armour on me. So here you have the paper with kind of the shape I would like it to have. Then you cut the leather, you mark the design, you cut open the shape of the leather, and you start tooling with different tools. And at the end, you make the holes into the leather for the belts and stuff like this. So here is basically all the 8 steps you have for anything in leather. Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm done. So now I will show you directly these techniques on the leather. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so I passed through you a few design. I don't know if you've seen. Oh, yeah, it's here. So this is a flask I made with leather, and this is the paper pattern. So basically, the paper pattern is just the shape, and on the shape, the main drawing. So all the details you can see on the flask, all the top and bottom stuff, I don't need to draw them. I just know I will do some border, so let's say. So to do those borders, I will show you how I do a border, for example. So let's take a piece of leather. Okay. So I will use the compass. Yeah, okay, you don't see everything. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you will use the compass to put a mark on your leather at some distance. And then what you can do to bury. So I will use this stamping tool to make this design on the top of the leather. So I will just try to open the compass, the size basically of the stamping tools. So like that, I can just mark the other distance. So I will wet the leather. So you always wet leather because dry leather, you can mark dry leather, but it won't stick. You have to wet the leather first. And when it's wet, you should normally wait a few minutes for it to dry. It should go back to almost this color before you try working on it. But we don't have the time, so here I marked. Yep. Okay. So I marked the design. I marked just a line. Okay. And I will use the swivel knife to cut open this line. Okay. So now I have a line. Oh, wait. Okay. So I have an open line on the leather. And then I will use this tool. So I will open the compass to see which. Okay. Okay. And so I will mark the new line, the new distance, and open it again. So the swivel knife is like a blade, like this, a rotating blade. So you will put it 45 degrees inside the leather, and then when you will cut, you will be able to turn or just to do straight lines. Okay. And so now I will just hammer the stamp. So the leather is wet. I have the two cuts here, and so I will just put my stamp on it. Yeah, so normally you use a marble, like a stone. So yeah, so I have this stamp, and then I will do it all along the seam, but then you can see it goes completely inside. I can do another one, like this one. So I will open again. Ole, where did I put the swivel? My swivel, where is my swivel? Well, anyway. So there's different shape of swivel knife. For example, there is a sharper blade. It's smaller. It's better for round curves and everything. Or you have the already double blade. So when I will use it on the leather, I will already make two cuts at the same distance. And okay. So as an example, show you here. So with stamps, you can do many stuff. This stamp is used to do the illusion of a cord, of a rope. So I will, on the leather here, I will trace a rope. Donc, hop, like this. Well, so you get the idea, but now I have like a kind of a rope along the stuff, and I didn't do it here. So this is basically, you can try many stamping tools. So, for example, the 3 lines, this is the same stamping tools, but with different inclination. So this is higher, and then as far as I inclined him, you have different kind of rope. So with the same stamping tool, you can obtain different results depending on how you want it to look. So I will show now. So for example, this is one design I had for coasters, the stuff you put under your glasses. So you have, you cut pieces of leather like this, and then you use the beveler to remove the edge of the leather. I will do it on this piece, for example. So this is the beveler tool to cut the side. So here I can. So this is how you round up your leather. You do it on both sides. And then you have a rounded up edge instead of the sharp one. So on this, I will use water. I don't want to wet it too much because my paper. So you have your cowhide, your piece of leather, then you have your pattern, then you cut your piece of leather inside your leather, you use the beveler to cut the edge, and then you will use your pattern on top of your leather, and you will use the needle, the modeler, to put the design. So I will go all along the design. So a good idea when you do this is to, for example, use plastic film, plastic paper between your paper and your leather. So if your leather is too wet, it will not wet your paper. But I don't have plastic paper here. Okay, so I will try to go fast. Yep. Okay. Okay, so this may not look like it, but it can be a very long part to do. Okay, so this is how it looks like when you just put your drawing onto the leather. And now you have to cut the leather to mark the design. So I will just do a few cuts. I'm doing it too fast, but it's okay. I'll just do one side. Yeah, sorry, it's hard to show. Okay, so the difference between when it's cut and when it's not cut. So you can just cut your design onto the leather to show it, but then you can also now add the 3D components to your design. So this is the most common tool for Leathercraft. It's an edge beveler. So you can see it's round and smooth and also oblique. So this will be used to put one side of the leather under the other side. So for example, here you want your polo to be on top of your leather. So this part should go down compared to this part. So I will try to... Okay, so you can see this beveler, so this oblique edge will help you put your design on top of your leather. So like this, you can see here it's the same use. So the lion is outside of the blue, it's in top of the leather. Yo. Thanks to the beveler. Then you have kind of stamping tools for, let's say, texture. So you have different patterns like this. So for example, this one is this tool, and you stamp it every time to make a pattern. You have this one that you will change side every time you stamp it. So this will make a full mattress. So depending on the stamping tools, you can put texture on the entirety of your leather armor, your leather piece, or anything. I think you have some leather piece in the public I used for that. Then an example of something else. Well, I can show you how to rivet two pieces. So I just put two leather pieces, and this is to punch holes into the leather. So I punched a hole into both pieces of leather, and then I will use a rivet. So the two different parts of the rivet. Tuck. Tuck. So this is how you put the rivet at first, and then you can use the tools to set it. So now, like on the picture on the presentation, you have your donut like this, and then now you might still turn them with some friction, but then you can take them off. They are only one part. Just again about the sewing. Let's say I have two pieces like this. So I will show you the sewing. You have different tools for the sewing. This helps you to have like a chisel. Aye. So this is what I used on the hat. Yeah, doesn't matter. To prepare sewing, or then I will use a piece of foam and just use the roller. So I have all the dots, and now we'll use the hole to mark. Okay, so to do it correctly, I should do like I said, you will bury your sewing. Okay, so let's say I want to sew this part on top of this part. So I will set a line here. So I carved, I don't know. I use this, and you see I removed the top of the leather. I removed the top of the leather to dig inside the leather. So now I will use, let's just say, okay, I will use this one. And then, with my string I made before, I will still move it. Okay. So in case you didn't see earlier, this is the string through the needle and the needle through the string. Olé. So like this, you have a dot on your leather. And so now to put pieces together, you will go through each side at the same distance. Okay. And then you will, this is difficult. Which camera is where? And then, up. So I will put one through and the other through the same hole. So I have one made, and then I will make the other one like this. Okay, and the string behind will come back in the same hole. So here. So you basically do this between to sew the two parts of the leather, and it already works fine. And to come back, so you don't really do a knot at the end. You will just come back on the other direction, and then the two pieces of the string here, you just cut them, and this is kind of polyester string, so you can burn them with a lighter to stop the sewing. Do we have other tools? Yes, I have other tools. So let's say, for example, I will do okay. So I just did a sort of a comma here, and I will use the beveler to put the comma. Yeah, sorry for the noise. So I did it kind of fast, but the point is to show you this tool. It's a sharp edge, and this will go inside, under the leather. So, for example, you will carve inside the leather, and so in top, you will have the impression of this part being a lot more under. So, for example, on the hat, I can do this here. So the branch will come up onto the leather. You can use this. I can use it. So I will use it on the leaf. This is a leaf. And on the leaf, I will use it on the... Okay. So now you can see the leaf is coming really outside of the leather. So depending on the tools, you can really sculpt your design in 3D completely on top of the leather or outside. And those little parts, they are used with the shadow stamping tools. This is stamping tools like this, really small. Up. And then you will stamp here to put the leather completely inside itself, so everything around will come up. Okay, so I'm arriving at the end of my time. Do you have questions? Yeah, I'm at the end, so a few questions if you have on Leathercraft. Yeah, at the end. I didn't hear anything, but I'm coming.
Moment.
Oh, no. Yes, the microphone.
Okay, thank you. I meant to ask you if you're using just some very specific type of leather, or you can pretty much pick up any leather that you see anywhere, or which type of animal to avoid, or which type of leather to use.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. You don't hear the microphones here?
Sorry, I meant to ask you if you're using some very specific type of leather, some kind, some specific animal, or pretty much any leather you can pick up, which is the suitable type.
Oh, okay. So I'm always using the same kind of leather. It's vague tan leather. So this is kind of the color the leather looks like when you buy it in leather shop, when there is nothing on top of it. There is no treatment. There is no dye, there is no finish, there is nothing. So if I drop water, ink, dirt, anything on it, it will keep it. So when you buy leather like this, you really have to be careful when you transport it, because every mark it will gain, it will keep them. But this is vague tan leather in a natural color. So it's not because it's vegan or vegetable or anything. It's because it's tanned using wood or tannins that are coming from vegetables. But it's still animal. It's a cowhide, classic cowhide. And I use 3 millimeters thick cowhide for armours or for stuff. On the hat, because I need to tool it on both sides, this is 1.5 millimeters and 2 times 1.5. But yeah, most of the time I always use 3 millimeters thick leather. Okay. Do you have other questions? No? Yes. What?
What are the most necessary tools to get you started?
Oh yeah, so you saw at the beginning of the presentation there was the first thing I did in leather was the red armour. Can you put back the first slide? So the first stuff I did was a red armour with moving eyes and stuff. And at the time I had nothing for leather. So if you want to start, you can just buy a few sheets of leather. What you really need to use is the swivel knife, but I don't remember where I put my swivel knife. Okay, well, that kind of, this one. So classic swivel knife, this costs, I don't know, 6 euros, 7 euros, it's really cheap. So you need this, leather. You don't need that kind of stuff. I use common needles to do it, and then this beveler plus the hammer, so you can try to carve stuff on your leather, and then a hole and some needles to do some sewing, and with this and something to punch holes. And rivets. So you have rivets, you have sewing, and you have any stamping tools to draw some stuff on your leather. So yeah, you just really need and some water. Okay, that's yeah. The basics are really, you don't need a lot of things. Yeah, I have to go judge the contest. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. You can see all the pictures, the work in progress, the pictures I took when I made an armour on the Facebook page. So see, if you are wondering how I did this item or this armour, you can just look in the album section of the Facebook page and you will see all the pictures I took during the process. Thank you very much.
Milí kolegové, doufám, že jste se krásně vyspali, protože dneškem začíná něco úžasného. Už 15 let otročíme pro Animefest. Otročíme s tím, že nevyděláme ani korunu, ale my chceme vydělat. Co chceme vydělat? Chceme vydělat víc. Nechceme už snídat rohlíky se salámem, ale chceme snídat kaviár se šampaňským. Co? Dámy a pánové, dovolte, abych vám představil Megakon. Hlavní cíle Megakonu jsou 3 věci. Vydělat, vydělat a vydělat!